Walter Breuning, USA, lived to 114 plus. His daily habits for a long life. Walter Breuning lived to be 114 years old, a milestone very few people in history have ever reached. Born in 1896 in Melrose, Minnesota, Walter witnessed 3 different centuries, 2 world wars, the invention of the automobile, the rise of radio and television, and even the birth of the internet. Imagine all the changes, the ups and downs, the challenges and victories that passed before his eyes. And yet, through all of that, Walter carried himself with a simple philosophy for living a long, fulfilling life. Eat less, move your body, stay connected, and never stop learning. Unlike many people today who search for miracle pills, exotic diets, or complicated anti-aging treatments, Walter kept things very simple. He ate just 2 meals a day. Breakfast was his biggest meal, and he made sure it gave him the energy he needed to begin his day. Lunch was his second meal, balanced but not overly heavy. And when evening came, he didn't load his body with extra calories. Instead, he enjoyed only light fruit snacks. He firmly believed that eating less, and especially avoiding overeating at night, was one of the reasons his body stayed healthy for so long. Walter once said, if people could just cut back on their food, they'd live longer. Today, science supports his wisdom. Studies on intermittent fasting and calorie moderation confirm that reducing unnecessary calories lowers the risk of diabetes, heart disease, and inflammation. Our bodies simply function better when they aren't overburdened by constant eating. Walter seemed to understand this intuitively, decades before it became popular advice. But diet was only one part of the secret. Every single day, Walter walked. He didn't compete in marathons or push himself into extreme exercise routines. Instead, he believed in steady, consistent movement. Walking kept his circulation strong, his muscles flexible, and his body in motion. More importantly, walking gave him the chance to reflect, to observe the world around him, and to stay mentally sharp. Even in his later years, when others might have chosen to rest more, Walter believed movement was life. His message was simple. If you stop moving, you stop living. Another habit that sustained Walter was his deep commitment to staying socially engaged. Loneliness can be one of the most damaging conditions for older adults, often leading to depression, memory loss, and declining health. Walter knew this, and he made it a point to remain connected. He enjoyed conversations with friends, neighbors, and even strangers. He valued sharing stories, listening to others, and being part of community. He was an active participant in his retirement home, always eager to talk and spend time with people around him. Science now tells us that social connections help protect against dementia, reduce stress, and even strengthen the immune system. But Walter didn't need a medical journal to tell him that. He felt it in his spirit. Staying social gave him purpose, laughter, and belonging. Walter also kept his mind busy. He never stopped learning. Even in old age, he listened to the radio, read letters, and stayed informed about what was happening in the world. For Walter, mental activity was as important as physical activity. He knew that the brain, just like the body, needs exercise. By staying curious, he kept his mental muscle strong. Unlike passive entertainment that sometimes dulls the mind, Walter believed in actively engaging with information. This habit of reading and listening helped him maintain clarity and sharpness well into his hundreds. When asked about the key lessons of life, Walter often shared 3 ideas that shaped his philosophy. First, don't complain. He believed life was too short to waste on negativity. Complaining, in his view, didn't solve problems. It only made life harder. Second, keep working, even after retirement. He didn't necessarily mean working at a job, but rather continuing to contribute, staying busy, and having a sense of purpose. Work, in his words, gave people dignity and drive. And third, enjoy the simple things. Food, walks, friendships, and learning. These were treasures that mattered more than money or possessions. At 114, Walter reflected on his long journey and said, everybody learns something different about life. The trick is to keep learning until the end. These words carry the weight of more than a century of lived experience, and they remind us that longevity is not just about adding years to life, but about adding life to years. Walter Breuning's story proves that a long and healthy life doesn't require expensive routines or magical solutions. His recipe was straightforward. Eat in moderation, walk daily, connect with others, and keep your mind active. 2 meals a day, a daily walk, friends and conversations, a curious mind. Simple habits that any of us can follow, yet powerful enough to carry a man through 114 years of life. If Walter's story inspires you, share it with someone you love. Remember, a long life isn't just measured in numbers. It's measured in joy, in wisdom, in relationships, and in the small moments that give each day meaning. Walter's journey reminds us that with balance, kindness, and curiosity, we too can live not only longer, but better. Subscribe for more stories of longevity and life lessons from the world's oldest people, and take these timeless habits with you on your own journey toward a healthier, happier life.
Thôi giờ sợ